By the way, I'll be able to stay after class today, probably for about 30 minutes. If anyone has any questions about Hebrew or the scriptures or whatever it may be, I want to give you that 30 minutes because I have some other engagements that I have to participate in. But to say the least, I do want to tell you that you are doing the right thing by coming to class. There's a reason, there's a purpose behind the Most High gathering us as a people. Okay. Um, and we're not perfect. I just want to be clear. None of us are perfect. We haven't achieved perfection. There's a lot of things that we have to deal with in our lives that we haven't been, you know, we haven't resolved. There's a lot of resolved issues, unresolved issues in our lives that we have to get through. And life is nothing but a big old lesson. That's what life is. Okay. This life that you and I are living in is a time of testing. It's a time of examination. It's a time of seeing whether or not you and I are going to be worthy of being included in on what the Most High has designed and designated for His people. He's not accepting, and this is not just my opinion. I can back up everything I'm saying with Scripture. Okay, you can tell me if I'm wrong, and if I am, I'll stand corrected. But from what I understand and what I've searched out and what I'm recognizing for myself is that if you and I don't get our act together, y'all's not going to have anything to do with us. Plain and simple. He's not going to have anything to do with us if you and I want to continue to rebel against the Most High and His order and the way that He has established the way that He's established His order, then we're gonna find out. And it's not, listen, it's not a threat. Okay. So I want to be clear when I'm talking and I'm saying, hey, y'all's going to do this and y'all's going to do that. I'm not threatening you. I'm not. I'm just telling you the way it is. I'm just telling you straight up because there's a lot of people out here that are not going to tell you straight up. They're going to lie to you. They're going to comfort you. They're going to make you feel like everything is okay. They're going to give you the whole we're peace and the Most High loves us. And, that whole Christian narrative that, no matter what you do, He's still going to accept you. And that's not what the case, that's not the truth. And we're going to talk about that today. Okay. So all praises be given to Yahweh. Yahweh, we thank you today. We thank you for this day, the Yom Shabbat that you have said to us to set it apart as Kadosh. Hallelujah. To set it apart, Yahweh. This is a day that you have made. You have worked for 6 days. And on the seventh day, you've rested and you set that aside. Hallelujah. A day in which no hand is supposed to move against you. No hand is supposed to move and work. No hand is supposed to move against your creation. You've caused this day to be a time of reflection of what you have done and your mercy and your compassion and your greatness and your strength and your power and your majesty by the things in which you have made, which is a reflection of your character. We praise you. We give you honor. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise be to the only true and living Elohim, Yahweh. Let's get into our study. Okay. Let me share my screen with you. Okay, let me get that. Oh, hundreds of slides, literally hundreds. You guys are really the people of the Most High. Y'all is doing a great thing. I get to listen. I get to spend my life serving you. I appreciate you guys. I do. You're making my life better. You really, truly are. I want you to know that. All right. So this week, have your pen and paper ready, okay? This week is our Torah portion called Teruma. Let me get my face off the screen so we can focus. All right, so we're talking about Teruma. All right, and one of the brothers called me this week. He's like, "Hey, Akika, what does Teruma mean?" You know who you are. And I explained to him what it was, and I want to explain it to you because I believe that all of us need to understand what we're reading and how important it is. Okay, so teruma, the word is called teruma. Okay, and with teruma, it's going to have a breakdown of a few letters. Okay, so the first part is the te, the second part is the room, and the last part is the ah. Te room ah. Te ruma. Okay, so you can write that down for yourself. Teruma. And what does teruma mean? Well, the first part, the te, okay, it is a T sound in the Hebrew. It's the last letter of the Hebrew language, okay? The first letter is the aleph, the last letter is the tav, okay? The tav is the final letter, meaning this is the end, okay? So in Hebrew, the beginning is talking about your strength, okay? Known as an aleph. That's a strength, that's an ox head, okay? It means strength, okay? And all the way from the aleph all the way to the end, you have the tav, which means a mark or a sign or a designation, okay, where you're going, okay, meaning the final part. So between these two, you would have what they would call the aleph bet, which are the letters that make up words that give you what they would call sentences. Okay, that's how it works. Letters, words, sentences, and that's the alphabet. Okay, so between the strength of you to the end of you is going to be everything that you and I are going to exist in life. Every word for every situation in our life is found in the Hebrew language. Okay, but it's going to begin with strength and is going to always end with you. Everything that you go through is going to begin with something and then it's going to end with you. Okay? That's the bottom line. So whatever it is that you and I are doing, you need to understand that you are going to be the beneficiary of it. You are going to be the one who's going to receive the results of something. You are going to be held responsible for your actions. You and I are going to be the ones who are going to have to give an account to the Most High. And only you can do this. No one else can do this for you. That's how important this letter is. The Tav is a very important letter in the Hebrew language. Okay. So that's the first part of it. Okay. The second part of the word teruma is our next word called room. Okay. So first part is you, and then the second part is room. Okay. It's spelled right there. And room means to exalt or to lift up. Okay. It means to elevate. So in the idea now, so far we have terum. So terum means to you to exalt, you to lift up, you to elevate. I'm laughing because the Most High he's gracious and he's merciful and he's compassionate. And what he wants us to do is he wants us to elevate, but the only way that we can ever elevate is when we exalt him. Okay? Terum, that means you exalt, you lift up, you rise up, you elevate, you got to go. Okay? You got to lift something up. So that's what that means, room, to rise. Okay? This word room is also found in Abraham's name. Okay? In his name, these letters are found. Okay? So when we look at Abraham, it's an aleph, Av, right? Here's Av. That's the first part of his name. And that means father. Right? So Av is father in Hebrew, right? The Aleph Bet right here, Aleph Bet. So the language that we're learning is from our father is going to tell us the instructions, what he wants us to do. The next part of his name is called Ra, which is the letter right here, Resh. Okay. Avraham. Okay. Prior to his name being Avraham, his name was Avram. Okay. Which didn't have the hey in it, just had this Avram, which is right here, this one and this one. Okay. So that means to rise or is exalted. So the Father exalted. Okay. When he put that hey in there, Avraham, he's exalted. He's the father of many nations. Okay. Because in Hebrew, when you put that hey in there, it's inclusive of to see what? All the nations. That's why it's called Avraham. Okay. Avraham. That Am right there are the peoples. In Hebrew, right? You have and that means people. Okay. This sound right that I got circled, this right here and that together means people. So he's the exalted father of many peoples. Okay. So because you belong to this family, there's a certain type of character that you and I must have and how we should live. Okay. So everything about us has to be on a higher level. And this is the challenge. And this is the problem with us as a people because we really don't know how to elevate. We don't know how to lift up properly. What we do often is we exalt ourselves, and we do that for a variety of reasons, whether we're smart, we're wise, we're beautiful, we have a nice body, we lift weights, whatever it may be, we own, tons of property, we got money in the bank, we got a great career, we're highly esteemed by others. And so the bottom line is if you and I don't learn how to exalt the Most High, nothing that you and I do would ever really matter. That's what he's trying to get us to understand about terumah. Okay. So terum so far is for you to exalt. The final part of this word terumah is the ending called ah. Okay. Which is found in the letters that you have here in the symbol of this right here is the ah. That's an ah sound. Okay. And then here's the H right here that goes there. So it's ah, okay? So terumah, okay? But ah in Hebrew always references femininity. This is huge. This Torah portion is more about femininity than anything else. There's all different types of examples, okay? And we see this, and I'm going to share with you where the femininity is, okay? What I do want you to understand about femininity, it doesn't go with just females. That's a false, narrative. That's not true. Femininity actually goes with masculine and feminine. Okay, the males who may have a masculine body, but he has a feminine soul. So the femininity here is describing one's soul. So if we look at terumah, what we're talking about is the lifting up your soul, you elevating your soul. Okay. And the way that, we elevate and the way that we do this through this femininity we have in the Hebrew language, the femininity describes action without, which means verbs. Okay. So without her, okay, without a feminine, nothing will ever happen. Nothing will ever happen. Nothing. A man will never become what he needs to become because the way the Most High has designed it. He's designed for the woman to be the helper with the man because it's not good the man should be alone. So he's given her to him as a helper because she's the one who's supposed to perform actions. If she doesn't perform these actions, then the man is going to be by himself. He's going to be ineffective. Okay. That's what it's going to be. Okay. Now things have changed in the dynamic of the relationship because of her inability to listen to what the Most High has said. Because she's decided that she did not want to do what the Most High has said. Listen to me carefully. Is not what her husband told her. Okay. Is what the Most High has said. So the husband is given a command, right? I'm pretty sure Adam made Kuah realize that we're not allowed to eat this, right? So he did tell her, but it wasn't his command. It was the command of the Creator. So she did not violate her husband. She violated the Most High because she did not follow what the Most High's command is, which is to be a helper to the man. Okay. And as a result of her not doing what she was instructed to do through the command of the Most High has taken away her ability to rule. She will never be able to rule the man, ever. Not then, and not now, and not in the future. Now, you sisters may feel a little about that, but it's the truth. So your problem is not with your man, it's with the Most High. Okay. So the Most High has determined, and this is what he wants. He wants now for the woman to have a mashal. She is to be ruled and to be dominated. Okay. Rulership. She has to have domination, meaning that she has to live under the domain of her husband. And the domain is his rulership. If she doesn't want to live under his rulership, she's saying that I don't want to be underneath your domain. If this man is saying that, hey, this is the way I want it to be, then, hey, it's going to have to take something. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how if you and I want to be connected with the Most High in our relationship, because now you have to keep in mind that right now, Moshe is up on the mountain receiving the commandments of the Most High, and he's going to take it down to his people, which he gave her a covenant about the relationship on what the terms of and conditions of the relationship is going to be on. Now the husband is now interested in having a connection with his wife. So now he's saying how he wants his house to be, how he wants to have her participate in the building of his dwelling place, of his domain. See, sometimes when we look at these ideas of rulership and we look at domain and we look at the idea, even my wife gets upset when I tell her that she's my possession. She doesn't like that. She doesn't think that I own her, but I do. Right? Every man owns his wife. Most High owns his wife. That's the Most High's order. When you're a possession, that means you're supposed to be a treasure. His job is to protect you and to make sure that everything around you is kept in place. That's against threats. That's against everything. And that's the reason why an agreement has to be made. This is the reason why Teruma is even given with the children of Israel. Okay. Teruma is about a relationship. It's about lifting up your soul. Okay, both male and female to the Most High. It says, Yahweh said to Moshe, tell the people of Israel to take up a collection for me, right? Accept a contribution from anyone who wholeheartedly wants to give. So this is the terms on which the Most High wants to receive something from the children of Israel. The command is to go and to ask them, right? The command is not to give, the command is to ask. He's commanding Moshe, I need you to go to the people of Israel and I need you to tell them. This is what I need you to tell them. And not in a way like, hey, the Most High wants. No, this is what I'm looking for. Okay. This is what I'm looking for. So these are the words that the Most High is giving to the children of Israel after he told them what the judgments were. Now that he's established the way that they're going to operate and how there's going to be harmony in the family, he's saying, now I want to let you know that I want to have my dwelling place with you. But all I want from you is this. I only want a contribution from anyone who wholeheartedly wants to give it. That's it. Okay. So the idea behind it's this word called Nadav, named after one of Aaron's sons, meaning I need you to be someone who has a willingness. They have wholeheartedness there, but it's really talking about a willingness. Okay. That's what it's about. It's about a willingness of giving something to the Most High. The Most High doesn't want anything from anybody if they're not willing to give it. Yes, Mashal.
So you're saying basically the Most High is wanting to know if you're willing to elevate your soul.
Yes. He wants to know. He's saying, I want to know out of all the people that I'm in a relationship with, which one of you are willing? Because he doesn't want anything from us if we're not willing to give it. If we're not, the willingness is not just about the giving, the willingness is about the idea of ascending. It means that you're willing to grow. Remember, these are people who have come out of a different type of circumstance where they were slaves and they were being, mistreated and so forth and so on. But now he's saying, look, I'm looking for people who's looking for change. If you're going to elevate, that means you have to change your mindset. If you're going to grow, you have to go through some things. If you're going to decide that we want to be with the Most High, it's about building things. That's what this Torah portion is about, building. It's about change. It's about, some things are about having to be destroyed. In the idea, in the process of building anything, there's some type of destruction that have to happen. As you notice with the gold and the silver, it had to be purified. So that means that we have to go through a process of refinement. So the idea of lifting up our soul means that you and I have to be willing to change. If you're going to sin, you have to be willing to change. If you're not willing to change, then that's fine. You're going to remain the same. If there's no change, there's no transformation. And that change only comes through living. It comes through our experience. It comes through learning, right? So we have to learn. And basically what it is the Most High saying, look, I want to have a relationship with you. And the only way that this relationship can ever have any with substance to it or any greatness to it, it has to happen through the idea of you wholeheartedly wanting to give yourself to me without me trying to squeeze you to make you do something that you don't want to do. Yes, honey, yeah.
You said if you don't want to change, you're going to remain the same. But I would like to add, you could even get worse.
Well, yes, I didn't go as far as that, because if we're in a process of decay and ruin because of our behaviors and our attitudes, and okay, like for example, he used the shittim wood, right? What they call acacia. He used that wood because it was indestructible, right? And so we can see the elements of the Mishkan, of the items that he requested. He wanted things that had life and that would have no destruction. He didn't ask for an ordinary type of wood. The acacia was the shittim wood, which is incapable of being burned, incapable of being rotted, incapable of doing all these things, right? So to come to some type of destruction, but it had to be converted, it had to be changed, it had to be overlaid with gold. The silver had to be purified. They had to go through a refinement process. And going through that refinement process is not an easy process. So if you and I are going to be in a relationship with the Most High, then we have to have the foundation of willingness. Otherwise, it's not going to work. If there's no willingness for us to trust him, then he says, okay, that's fine. Then I don't want anything from you. That's it. So if you're not going to do that, then that means that you're not really dedicated to the change. Because that's what Teruma is. Teruma is about saying, I'm going to dedicate that which is valuable. I'm going to dedicate that which is valuable to me. The Most High is asking for value. He's not asking for your trash, like the New Testament tells you, to just give him anything, just come to him. No. If we're going to come to the Most High, we're going to have to come with him with value. I don't want to start screaming and yelling today. I'm trying to keep my temperature down because I really need us to understand that the most valuable asset that you and I possess is our minds. If you don't want to give Yah your mind, or you're not willing to change, then you're going to remain the same and you're going to decay. And you're going to come to nothing. You won't have any value. And we see this through the offerings. We see this through the offerings. The Most High is saying that, look, give to me all the precious metals and the valuable materials. You read your Torah portion, you know what those precious metals are. You know it's the gold, you know it's the silver, you know it's the bronze. There's only 3 of them. He didn't ask for any aluminum, he didn't ask for any tin, he didn't ask for any iron, he asked for those 3 precious metals. They have a certain amount of charge, they have a certain amount of frequency, they have a certain amount of value. I asked, okay, the Most High said, I'm asking for the valuable materials. I'm asking you for the linen. I'm asking you for the goat hair. I'm asking you for the items that I'm looking for, the badger skin, not the dolphin skin. He has favorite colors. He has three of them. Three precious metals, three here precious favorite colors. There's precious colors to him. Okay. One is called Tekkalith. The other one is Argamon, and the third one is called Tola. Okay. So I'm going to give you a little brief summary about what those mean, right? Because this is what the Most High wants. The reason why he wants these offerings, okay, these contributions from a willingness is because if you don't give this, then you're not going to be connected to him in a certain way. So these are his favorite colors. You got to ask yourself, well, why? What is it about these colors that makes it his favorite? Why does he want this? Why is he willing for this? The Tekkalith is an ultraviolet color, everyone. It's not blue that you have in your Bibles. It's not blue. It's not a light blue. It is a ultraviolet color. The ultraviolet color, like I have been discussing in the past, has to do with the closest color to where light exists. It's the closest on the spectrum to light that cannot be seen. It's right there. That's why it's called ultraviolet. It's right there. Okay. Because it's the closest to light, okay, on that part of the spectrum. You can look it up on Google. So ultraviolet or Tekkalith represents closeness. So the Most High is saying, when I chose this color Tekkalith, I'm telling you this because it means something to me. It means that I want to be close to you, and I want you to be close to me. The willing heart is the one who's going to be closer to the Most High. The heart of Tekkalith, the one that's decorated in Tekkalith in that ultraviolet that's supposed to be on your tzitzit, that one right there, it talks about completeness. I want wholeheartedness from you. So when you wear your tzitzit and you got that color on, you're saying, look, I'm being close to the Most High. I'm being close to the commandments. I'm being close to him. I'm being close when it's in the decorative curtains of the Mishkan. He's saying, this is my desire to be close to you and for you to be complete. So if you don't have this and you're trying to hand the Most High something else, incomplete heart, that means that you're unwilling. If you're not saying that I want to be close, it's because you're not willing. I mean, I've been told by people just recently that I don't want to be close to you. I don't want you to have nothing to do with me. Even people in my family, they don't want that closeness. See, so you can't force them. So if they're not wholehearted, you're not supposed to worry about it. And so Tekkalith represents measurement and weight because everything has specificity. In order to be complete, things have to be measured to make sure that it's just, to make sure that it's right. Okay. And it also has an abstract idea of wisdom and what you call morality, not mortality, but morality, meaning how do you move? What's your behaviors like? Are you wholehearted? The next one, Argamon, which is called in English purple, represents royalty, nobility, and wealth, right? So part of the name Nadav, which you find in Aaron's sons, one of the name of his sons, which we'll talk about in the weeks to come about him, he's supposed to be of noble character. So the Most High is saying, look, the person who has a willingness to elevate and to come up and to elevate and be willing to change is the one who's willing to go to the next level, meaning that you're willing to be transformed from being a slave mind into being a royal mind, because we're connected to the king. So nobility is the idea of where you and I are supposed to ascend to. And once we ascend up to that nobility, that means that you and I now have increased our wealth substantially. Our wealth is not found in what we possess. Our wealth is found in who we are connected to. It's not in what you possess. It's not in what your real estate portfolio is. It's not about your bank account. It's not about that. It's not about your cryptocurrency. It's about who you're connected to that determines what your wealth is. It's not your job. It's not your work. It's who you're connected to. Because Teruma means that the Most High says, I want you to rise up and lift up your soul to you. Okay. The next word is Tola, which is the name, by the way, of Azaniah's son. His name is Tola. And I was like, oh, that's a beautiful name. And it means crimson red, but it also means great power. So when they saw these colors and the Most High is asking for this, it's because The one who's have a willingness is one who's going to be of great power. They're going to have the nobility. They're going to have this greatness on them. They're going to have this royal, aura about them. They're going to be about this transformation, because the transformation takes place when you and I draw near to the Most High, when we have this closeness. Because the closer that we get to Him, the more we have to transform. And some of us are not willing to be transformed. We want to stay the same. Okay? And I'm not just talking about individuals on this class. I'm talking about individuals that are listening live by stream. I'm talking to the world, like the children of Israel. We're not willing to change. We're not willing, because transformation is going to take refinement. It's going to take some pain. It's going to take some self-examination. That's what it's going to take. And it's going to have to take some sacrifice. So when they were bringing those animals to the Most High, right, which represents the crimson, right, of the blood, of the redness of that, he's saying, when you come close to me, you're drawing near to me, and you have to brought that animal, that means that you had to examine that animal, which had a soul, and you had to make sure not that its soul was okay, but its outer appearance was okay. It couldn't have a spot. It couldn't have a blemish. It couldn't have a hair out of place. It couldn't be sick. It couldn't be blind. So that requires the individual, the owner of that, to say that this is a representation of my soul. So if it's a representation of my soul, I need to examine myself before I bring anything to the Most High. I'm guilty of this. I thought surely because I know the Torah and because I read Hebrew and because of this and this and that I have some special place with the Most High. And the fact is I don't. The fact is, I'm just like everyone else. I'm just like everyone else. I need to change. I need to transform. I need to be able to make the sacrifices I need to make. And I need to do it in such a way that I need to take what I do into account and look at what I'm doing and ask myself, am I being honest enough with myself? This is not about me teaching you. This is about you learning from me. Hear me, okay? It's not always about what we give. It's not always about that. It can't be. Sometimes we could do the right thing. We're just doing it in the wrong way. Hear what I just said. Sometimes we could do the right thing, but we've done it in the wrong way. And that's where the problem's at. Because we believe that the way that we're doing something is the right way, and ultimately it's not. This is why we need to take a harder look, not at each other, but at ourselves. The question is what can we give? That's always going to be the question that we hear while we're in exile. Because often you hear people say, we don't have any offerings, we don't have any bulls, we don't have any goats. And this is the reason why we accept the bloody sacrifice of an innocent person who died on the cross for us. And that is an error. You do have something to give. You just didn't know it. Let's find out what you are to give. What you and I are to give to the Most High is value. You're going to hear me keep talking about value. Okay? What are we supposed to give to the Most High? What is so valuable that we have? Like I said, it's our mind. It's what you and I say that the Most High says, I'll accept. I'll accept what your mouth says. David understood this. He said, please accept my mouth's voluntary offerings. Right? So it wasn't just the offerings that he was bringing to the Most High. He was a king. He had wealth. He had substance. He had gold. He had silver. He wasn't talking about bringing that to the Most High. David understood that what he had to bring Yah had to come from within. It's not on the outside. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. I just burned myself the other day on a pot. I never burned myself in all my life like I got burned this last week. And it wasn't the pot, it was the top that was on the pot. I took the top off the pot and I didn't think the top was hot. It was very hot. And it burned me. And it burned me really deep. I probably had a 2nd-degree burn. It's deep, all the way you can see the white meat of my skin. And what I've noticed over the last few weeks is that, it looked horrible. It looks like, this is just terrible. But I'm looking at the healing of it. And what I notice is that the healing doesn't start on the outside. And the healing starts on the inside, and it takes time. So what am I trying to understand? I understand that whatever it is that you and I are going to give to the Most High, whatever offering we're going to do, it has to be from within first. It's not going to be an exterior move. It ain't going to be just what I would like to present. It's going to be what's unknown about me. It's going to be the deepest part of me, right? So we need to get healed in order to bring anything to the Most High. The animals that we bring to him can't be ones with wounds. So if you're wounded and I'm wounded and we're trying to go to the Most High, he's not going to accept it. He's not going to accept anything that's bleeding. He's only going to accept that which is whole and that which has been made right and whole. So you and I can't come to him if you and I are still bleeding. We can't come to him if we're sick. We can't come to him that way. We can't offer your soul to the Most High if this is the case. You have nothing to give to him if you're in that state of mind. Okay? So the question is what's wrong with us? And what does the voluntary offering have to do? Now, you can replace this word voluntary with willingness. You can replace this word voluntary with nobility. You can replace this with a desire. You can replace this with all those words. Okay. Voluntary means nobility. Voluntary means willingness. Voluntary means to give freely with no reservations. Okay. And he says, listen, after he says, I give you these things that I want you to teach me. You need to teach me your rulings. Right? Then he goes on and he talks about how it is. And if you read your meditation this week in Tehillim, which is Psalms 119, you would have found that he said, I have sworn an oath and confirmed it, that I will observe, meaning I will guard your righteous rulings, meaning that I will establish your rulings. Whatever it is that you have said, if me giving you anything, I have to establish that within myself first. See, I have sworn, I made an oath, I made a commitment. I have said this, I have coomed, I have established it. Okay. So if I'm establishing this and I'm confirming it, I'm taking responsibility for the words that are coming out from my mouth. Which brings us to the idea of worship. Now, worship is a big part of this because when you and I are to be connected to the Most High, the purpose of our connection is to worship. That's the whole entire purpose of making a connection to the Most High. So if you're not interested in worshiping the Most High, if you're not interested in exalting and esteeming him and loving him and showing him devotion, and you don't have that type of mind, right, that you haven't lifted up, you need a teruma in order to worship. Okay. In terms of worship, you and I have to have an attitude, what I would say, of gratitude, of thanksgiving, and reflecting upon the things that the Most High has done. So now he has brought them out of their slavery. He's delivered them from their oppressors. He has taken them and have increased their wealth. He's given all these gold and silver and all the items that they did have that he gave to them. He's seeing if they have enough in them to show and to acknowledge that he's the one who has done it. Do they have it within them to show the appreciation for what he has done? See, the thing about the Most High is that we're learning that everything that he has done for them as his people, they're not satisfied and they're not happy because it's not the way that they thought that they should see it. They believe that when they got there, they should have had a meal spread out for them, that they were so righteous and they were so deserving of them being set free. The reason why the Most High set them free is not because they were worthy. It was simply because he made a promise. He kept his word. And the way that they wanted to be delivered is different than the way that he wants to deliver them. The way that they want to be taught is different than the way he wants to teach them. And that's the problem with the children of Israel. See, we want to give the Most High what we want in the worship that we want on our terms. And it's not going to work like that. And that's going to be difficult for some people. Okay. The word worship in Hebrew is called shakah. You can write this down, shakah. Write it down. Let me tell you what shakah means. What shakah means is having a form of worship to the Most High as bowing down in a sense of meditation. That's what it is. It's about meditating upon Yah. It's about finding a way to internalize what the Most High has said, right? And not only just thinking about it, but internalizing his laws and reflecting upon why he has done what he's done. Your meditation is an opportunity to draw closer to the Most High. And the only way that this can happen, listen to me carefully, in our meditation is not where you and I are doing this in a group setting. It's about you, Turuma, Te. It's about Te. It's about you. It's about how you're going to go and set yourself apart. It's how you're going to make your focus on your relationship with the Most High Yah. That's what it's about. It's a time of reflection. It's a time of solitude. It's a time of where you and Yah are just together, you and him. Because it's not our relationship, it's your relationship with the Most High that you should be concerned with. Dawid had said something about worship that I thought would be fitting for us to discuss today, because we're talking about what can we offer. The idea behind us going to the Most High in our meditation, it can be as if we're giving incense to him. This is in chapter number 141 in the book of Tehillim, which is known as Psalms, okay? Meaning to give praise to the Most High. We give praise to the Most High when we're in a state of meditation, when we're in a state of internalizing his laws, okay? And when you're going in your meditation, it says it's like incense. The incense that the Most High asked for Moshe to ask of the children of Israel from a willingness, those incense could not have been given in a grudgingly way. It had to be given because that was their desire to do so. So your meditation can't be because I'm telling you to do it. It has to come from within. Your meditation is like incense at the altar before the Most High. That incense was highly valued. So if it's highly valued incense that he's looking for, he's asking for a highly valued mind. When you set yourself before the Most High, you're setting your mind in front of him. You coming before him is like a priest going into the tabernacle to put some incense and when the incense is burning, what is it doing, Mashal? What is going on with the smoke? Tell us.
Cleansing.
It's cleansing, but what is it actively, physically doing? What is the smoke doing?
Elevating.
It's elevating. It's ascending up to the Most High. So if your words are right, and they're like incense, and they're like the basemin that he mentioned, is the sweetness of it, and it's coming before him. Don't you want your words to be like incense before the Most High? Don't tell me that you need a high priest to go in before the Most High. Don't tell me that you and I can't have a relationship with the Most High because we don't have a tabernacle. Don't tell me that you can't keep the laws and statutes and commandments because you're not in the land. Don't tell me because the Torah doesn't include this about you offering incense yourself that it doesn't apply. Listen what he said. I lifted my uplifted hands like an evening sacrifice. He's offering himself. That's what he's doing. He is Terumah. Terumah. You lift up your soul to the Most High. And when you and I do this, because we have to be willing to do it on our own account. You can't force it. I try to force my children. I try to force them to love Yah. I try to, and I mean by force, not like I'm grabbing them and snatching them and throwing them on the ground. What I'm talking about is I'm always talking to them about worship Yah. Do this, do this, do this, do that. You're going to have a better life if you do this, do this, do that. I'm learning that you can't make anyone do anything they don't want to do, because that's not Yah's way. It's not his way. If they don't want to do it, they don't want to do it. In anything that we do, if you don't want to do it, don't do it, because it's not going to be accepted. That's just the truth. Now, what this does, it changes our lives. It transforms us into a time Where you and I now are living like we're not going to accept things from people that are not going to give it to us willingly. You shouldn't be able to take anything from anybody that's not willing to give it to you. That's what you and I are supposed to learn from this. But your prayers can be an offering to the Most High. Now, there's something that you and I need to understand. Okay? Go ahead, Michelle.
This is why it's important to tell people when they want to pray for you, no thank you, because you don't know what they're offering and to what God they're offering that
Boy,
prayer to.
that's a huge, huge, huge statement. That's awesome. You hear what he just said? Someone's saying, hey, let me pray for you. No, I don't know what you don't know what I need, and I don't know who you're going to pray to. Don't do that. Don't involve me in your prayer. You tell them, no, I do my own, period. You got to be able to stand for that. Don't be weak and let someone try to push that on you. See? But something you and I need to understand. Yahweh has set apart the godly person for himself. That word godly is the one who's kased. That means the person who's devoted. That's what a godly person is by definition. Someone who's devoted to the Most High. Okay? So the Most High sets that person apart. The word set apart there is not kadosh. It's called pala. Okay? Pala is generally saying that the Most High is making the person who's dedicated to him to be very distinct. Not kadosh, not set apart in the sense of, hey, holy, then you're moved and you can't be around anybody. He's saying that the person that I'm going to make distinct is the one who is dedicated and devoted to me. That's the one. That's the person that the Most High is looking for. He's looking for the person who is devoted to him. He's looking for the person who's willing to go through the process of being distinct from all other peoples. He wants them to be different. He doesn't want us to be like everyone else. And that's the problem, because we want inherently by nature to want to be like everyone else. We want to follow the crowd. We want to go with the group. We want to follow them because what we believe is, well, they're not bad. They're humans like us. So of course we got a lot in common. They're male, they're female, they're married, we're friends. We had drink together. We like the same type of foods. Listen. The Most High sets apart the person who's devoted to him for himself. So if you find yourself in a state of being lonely and being alone and you don't understand why nobody's around you, understand that it's okay to be alone because the Most High has set you apart to be distinguished from everyone else. You're very distinct to him. And that kind of scares us because drawing close to the Most High means, again, transformation. It means refinement. It means, giving up of oneself. It means not being selfish. That's what it means. It's not being concerned with our own, plans. It's about what he wants. And so we have to align ourselves with that. So that's why Dawid said, when Yahweh will hear when I call to him, because I'm the one that he set apart. Dawid is letting us know that I'm the one, the Pala. I'm the one. Pala also, too, by definition, means to speak to authority or speak to the staff. The one who's set apart is the one who Yah has been guiding. You see? So that was worship, which is called shakah. But here we have another word. I didn't make a typo. This word here is called shakak. Shakak. Not shakah. Shakak. Sounds very similar. Shakah. Shakak. Okay, one is a hard kach, the other one's shakah. Very similar. And the thing is, they're just the opposite. This is the opposite of worship. Shakak means to forget. That's what it means. And you and I are getting a warning.
Extra large.
Put your device on mute. Thank you. We're getting a warning about what this means. Okay. Basically, I'll read this, but I'm going to tell you what it means. It says, be careful not to forget Yahweh, your power, by not obeying his commandments, his mitzvot, his rulings and regulations that I'm giving you today. If you and I are not worshiping Yahweh, then you're in a state of shakak. You're in a state of forgetting. You're in a state of neglect. That means that you're failing to remember what it is that he has instructed you to do. The commandments, the rulings, the judgments, the regulations, the kukim, meaning show up for the moedim. You're forgetting this. You're disregarding him and you're disregarding what he's asked you to do. Now, this both can be, as you and I know, intentional, right? You can intentionally do this or you can unintentionally do it. Either way. And one of the things, too, that we need to understand about this forgetting is just not losing sight of it in your memory, right? But it's talking about how you and I are breaching the covenant, or we're breaching the relationship. We're putting a breach between us because we're not willing to follow the Most High willingly. We're not willing to follow the commandments, the rulings, and the regulations. It's all by force. It's like when you say by force, it's like you do this or you die. You know, that's the message. That's how we've been taking it. You do this or you die. Yeah, you're going to die. That's true. But the Most High is not forcing us. So when he says that he's coming to get us, he's coming back for those who have a willingness. That's how it works. But you and I forget the Most High. And in context, in Deuteronomy chapter number 80, what he was talking about is you're forgetting him about being grateful and gratitude. And when you read chapter number 8 of Deuteronomy and Davarim, you will find that he says, you know, you guys are going to forget me. You guys are going to forget me after you have increased your wealth. He said, after you get a big house, you guys get these big houses, and you guys get your gold and your silver. Go read it. You'll find it. Deuteronomy chapter number 8. After you guys get these big houses and you get your gold and your silver, and you get all this wealth, which I'm the one who gave you the power to get it, you'll turn around and you'll use that wealth in order to not do what I told you, because you don't need me. You don't need me because you got wealth. You don't need me. It's Most High saying, you don't, now that you got your house, right? Now that you got your inheritance, listen, he's telling you got your inheritance now. Now that you got your father's inheritance and you got your house and you got your money, you don't have to do what I say because you're feeling empowered now. He said, everything that I gave you is because I love you and I made a promise. Don't use the wealth that I gave you the power to receive. If it wasn't for Yah, you and I would never have anything. So he's saying this attitude of gratitude should follow in by your demonstrating or your demonstration of doing what I asked you to do. Everything the Most High has asked us to do is found in the Torah. And of course, there are some other things that are not mentioned in the Torah that a lot of people say, well, it's not mentioned there, so I don't have to do that. I'm not going to go into what the people are talking about because it's unnecessary because they don't understand the Torah. The Torah doesn't have to explain to us how to go use the bathroom. Doesn't tell you that. Not at all. So do you not know what to do after you use the bathroom? You should wash your hands. The Torah doesn't tell you how to prepare your table for your food. So I guess that doesn't apply to the Torah. Huh, interesting. The Torah doesn't tell you how to pay your taxes. So it's not in the Torah, we're not supposed to pay your taxes. Did you kind of see the insanity with that? The Most High is looking for gratitude. And when you and I get the blessings of the Most High through this material wealth, we forget the Most High. In your Torah portion, there was a great deal about measurement, a lot about specificity. Okay. The Most High was very detailed about measurement, and he's about weights. When he talks about these weights and these measurements, he uses the idea of a cubit. Okay. And a cubit has to do with a mother. I don't have a slide for it, but I'll just briefly tell you what a mother is. Okay. In the Hebrew, it calls her an amma, which comes from the word aim, which is to be measured, meaning the one who's supposed to keep everything together. She's actually like the heartbeat of the house. That's what a mother is, right? Her roles and her responsibilities were numerous in the things that she's supposed to do. Of course, cultivating children. You know, she cultivates them. She educates them. She's managing the home. She's managing everything for her husband and for her family. This is what she's supposed to do. And that's her responsibility. And also, too, is she's supposed to be the one who's helping to facilitate, listen to me, facilitate the traditions that are supposed to be passed on from generation to generation. She's supposed to teach her daughters how to take this and how to do this. She's supposed to teach her daughters how to prepare meals, because if they ever intend on getting married, then they're going to have to prepare a meal for their husband. You understand? So they're going to be able to have to take those types of instructions. So her job is a real important job, is highly valuable, what she's doing. So not only is she providing this care to them, she's doing support. And of course, you know, her role as a wife to her husband, but as a mother, she has this role. And so when the Most High is talking about these cubics, he's talking about how things are supposed to be measured. So what we see in the construction, in the measurement of the Most High's temple, the idea of a mother is mentioned. And she's done through the idea of measurement, okay? So mother was mentioned in there. It's about family. It's about building his house. Now, also too, in this measurement, we understand that, you know, you have something that said make 50 loops on one sheet and make 50 loops on the edge of a sheet in the second set, and the loops are to be opposite of one another. And we look at that, okay, well, we don't have a tabernacle, so we, you know, this sounds good. It's nice. They got 50 loops, great. Okay, yeah. Tie it all together and bring unity. Great. We know how to do the curtains. Okay. This right here is talking about the curtains of the tabernacle. Okay. And I don't have a slide for it because it'd just take too much time to go over, but I do want to kind of cover what those curtains mean. Okay. Trying to find a note that I wrote for the curtain. Concept. There you go. The curtains have to do with this idea of, like you see with these loops, right? It's an idea of connection. That's what it's talking about. It's talking about making a connection. It's talking about being interwoven together. That's what these curtains are talking about, okay? Being interwoven together, right? A certain design that they had to have, okay? Now, the individuals that are responsible for this is kind of going to blow your mind, all right? So here, right now, in a slide that I do have in front of you, I'm going to show you what it's talking about. It's found in this word right here, these two words right here, okay? This word right here is called Isha. Does anybody know what an Isha is?
A woman.
It's a woman. Okay. So the woman, and the L means two. And this word right here is called akota. What is an akot?
Sister.
Sister. So when the Most High is discussing the tabernacle and he's talking about building, he mentions the mother, which is the cubic of the measurement. He's talking about the woman to her sister here, the Isha, the El, the akotot. What he's talking about is when he talks about these loops, he's talking about the sisters being the opposite, a woman being opposite of one another, of her sister. So he's giving us a clue about what the curtains represent. The curtains are representing this unification between women. Now, I mentioned to you earlier, Teruma talks about one lifting up the soul and talking about the femininity. Did I not? Well, here's the femininity right here. A woman to woman is literally a sister to a sister. Okay? A sister to a sister. I have some good news and I have some bad news. You and I will never be unified as a people until this happens. Until our sisters join with one another, nothing is ever going to happen. There'll never be any unity of the family without the sisters joining with a sister, or a woman joining to sisters. A woman who stands by herself and never intertwines herself or interwoven herself or making any connections with other sisters has no purpose. The building of Yah's family, that his Mishkan is his house, which is his family. He's doing it so his family would have a place to come to see him and to worship him and to meditate and to give to him and to do that willingly. So there won't be any unification without the sisters coming together. Me personally, I would like to head up an organization, and I'm considering it, that I'm not going to be the head of it, but I'd like to get it started. And I want to know at the end of this class of which of you women and you sisters who want to participate in this idea that I have about creating something for sisters, not daughters, sisters. It's important because no matter what families we're from, no matter what tribe we're from, you're still sisters, all of us, sisters and brothers. Brothers was mentioned too in the Torah, talked about the Malakim or the Keravim that were, across from one another. But I didn't want to focus on that. I want to focus on what's at hand in front of us. I want to focus on how sisters are supposed to come together, because I understand that without the sisters, there won't be any unification of the family. And I'll continue to explain why. When we talk about sisters, you're talking about an occult, okay? Or the akoyot. The akoyot is sisters. The akot is sister. And a sister is just like a brother, except for she's feminine, right? And you see the ak right there, ak or akot, which has to do with a strong wall. You're supposed to be a strong wall of defense for one another, sisters, okay? And in the Torah, these are the gems and these are the precious things that we find in there. And you can only do this through your idea of willingness. That's why I'm asking if any of you sisters are interested in what I'm talking about and you're willing and you want to be able to make these connections. I want you to stay on after class and find out what I'm talking about, okay? Because a lot of times our women really, they need some direction, they need some leadership. And then once you give them the information, it's then up to you guys to take it and do what you want to do with it. That's basically what it is. So it's like how the Most High is telling Moshe, hey, go ahead and ask them for this. And if you know your Torah, you would know the individuals who were responsible for making these curtains were the women. So when he said that let each one of them make the loops and so forth and so on, he's already designated for the women to be part of the process. They're the ones who are making the curtains. The curtains represent being fearful and trembling. That's what the curtains mean. Okay, it comes from the root, the curtain, the actual name for the curtain comes from the root meaning yara, and yara means to fear, and it means to tremble. And the beginning of wisdom is to fear the Most High. The reason why he's saying tremble and to be fear for the curtain is because when the wind would hit the curtains would shake. So the women are the responsible ones for making the curtains. If a woman is who fears the Most High, and she's the one who's trembling at the Most High's word, then she's going to be the one who's going to move on behalf of the Most High. She's going to be the one who's going to create the unity between the sisters. She's going to be the one who's going to interwoven everything together. She's going to be the one who's going to use the skill. The curtains also, too, in terms of sisters, was an idea of separation and sanctity because of that curtain. It means that you were dedicated to the work. See, because you're interested in making a connection. Now, it's said here that there are two projections on each plank, and the planks are to be joined one to another. Okay? You looked at that like you're thinking this is just a construction project. I told you when I read this in the Hebrew, it's talking about the woman. Okay? When it talks about these two projections right here, it's talking about the female. When it's talking about the plank, it's talking about the male. The male is a plank. The projections that come off of him, the female. She's the connection. Okay. So when he's talking about the plank as a board, when you make this board, okay, on the end of the board, I want you to put two projections. In the projections, after you do the projections in the board, what we're going to do is I'm going to have you sit them inside of he got it as an Adon, which calls it a socket. They're going to sit inside these sockets, one on one side and one on the other. And what that's going to do is going to bring what you would call stability. Okay. So the sockets were made out of silver and gold, depending on where it was. Okay. But the sockets had a name called an Adon. An Adon means master. That means to control. Okay. So you can see that the females are put into the Adon, according to the sockets, in order to bring control and to bring stability. If the Adons are not there, there won't be any stability. The board is masculine. Do you understand? But he needs the feminine projections in order to make him connected to the master. The master is Yah. Do you understand? This is inside the tabernacle. Without this happening, you're not going to have anything going to happen. So the Mashulavat Isha de Elakota, or the Ekota. The same word that I just told you again, Isha, Elakota, is the same thing we just read, but now this one has a different word called Mashalavot. The Mashalavot is what's in question. The Mashalavot, I need to explain to you what it's talking about. But I need you to understand that the construction project includes the male and female. The plank by itself means nothing. It has no function without these two feminine projections. Do you kind of get it? So we need each other. But we also have to be our foundation, which in that case was the sockets, which you would call the base, which the Most High calls the Adon, which is the master, the foundation. Okay? Otherwise, the board would fall and there would be no stability to the Most High's house. So there's no stability in the home without Yah being the foundation of the house. There's no stability if the man doesn't have a female. If he doesn't have her, then he has no stability in his house. That's why he said it's not good the man should be alone. It's not good that this plank should be alone. It needs the projections in order to secure it to the foundation. They have to be joined. So again, Isha, which is the woman, needs to be connected to her sister. So you're connected not only through the curtains, but you're connected through the boards. That means that you're not just going to be the curtains only. You're part of the boards, the structure of the house. Just like the daughters and the sons. The daughters in Hebrew are called the Banot. The sons are called a bane. Put the N, forgive me. They have the same letters, a ben, a bet, and a noon. A bet and a noon. And here's the oath right here. She's called a Banot. She's still part of the structure. The daughter's still part of the building of the family. The Banah here, the word bane, is son. The word Banah means to build. And so when the Most High is asking them to build, he's asking for the sons and the daughters to participate in the building of his house, of his dwelling place, of his sanctuary, of his place of harmony, of his place of solitude. Oh, praise be to the living Yahweh. But that only can happen from the sons and the daughters of Yah who are willing. Before I became a husband, I'm the son of Yah. My relationship to Yahweh is I'm not the husband of Yah, I'm Yah's son. Your relationship to the Most High is as a daughter. Your relationship to him is as a daughter. Do you understand? Collectively, we are the wife of the Most High. Individually, we're sons and we're daughters. That's why there's certain rules and regulations for daughters and certain rules and regulations for sons. That's why no regulations are mentioned for the wife because it's automatically known that the wife belongs to the husband. If you don't like it, go join being a Christian. All my people who are listening live, if you don't like that, go be a Christian. Go find a Christian man. Go find a Christian wife. This is the way it works here in Israel. So let me tell you about the Mashulavat, okay? To give you the idea of why this is so important. The Mashulavat, everyone, is very, very interesting. When the Most High is talking about this, he's literally saying, based on the letters that are in the word Mashulavat, the first letter, the Mem, which is the first letter that you have on your right-hand side, okay, tells you that this word means active. That's the Mem. It means actively. So when he's saying that, hey, look, when you have those projections and all this kind of stuff in a Mashulavat, when I'm telling you to do this, I'm asking you guys as sisters, because this is not to the men. I'll make it clear. Isha is not a man. An Ish is a man, and Isha is a woman. Okay? A Kot is not a son or a brother. It's a sister. So this is for you sisters. This is nothing doing with the brothers. The brothers are like the planks. They're the boards that are just supposed to sit back and listen to what the Most High is telling the sisters today. The sisters are supposed to actively get together. Okay? And the next letter is the Sheen, which means two. Okay? So he's like, well, what do you mean? The two women. Okay? Which is the Isha and her Akot, her sister. Okay? They're supposed to get, so there's two minds. Okay? Two authorities supposed to come together. Okay? The authority inside, in Hebrew, these are the two letters right here called Alav or Lev. And Lev means the mind. See, so he's asking for two minds to come together actively right now, right? And that's your sign. That's your signal. In order for you to start building the Most High's family, is you have to come together. Each one of the sisters, you guys have to gather together, get your minds together, and come together and create a curtain. And create and get the man connected to the foundation. Have you noticed that there's more women interested in the Torah than there is men? Have you noticed that a lot of men are stubborn and hard-hearted and rebellious against the Most High? And it's usually the woman who's the one with the softest heart to listen and the one who cares and really can get it, really understands what's going on with the family. Because the Most High gave you that as your gift. That's your gift. A man can't do what the Most High is asking you to do right here. He's not asking them for the Mashalavat. He's asking the Mashalavat, the Isha, the Eliakot, Akota, her sister. Matter of fact, it's just not a cult. It's not just a sister. It's her sister. That's why it's called a Akota, her sister. Okay? In the language, it has a hey on the end, it has a dot in it. That means a possessive. That means that, hey, you're my sister. Okay? So you sisters are going to have to get together because you're instrumental in the building of Yahweh's family. So actively bringing two authorities that are inside one another, and that's your sign that you guys have come together when you're interested in building the Most High's family. So you thought, well, we can't build the temple. We can't build the Mishkan, so we're helpless. There's nothing we can do. We're in exile. There's nothing to do. It's not true. We can't pray and worship. Yes, you can. We can't build. Yes, you can. We can't connect. Yes, you can. I'm just here to empower you. You. Terumah. So what we're looking at, everyone, is the idea of having an interconnection. We need our sisters to step up and interconnect first. Then the brothers will follow. That's what the Most High has shown me, that it won't happen without the sisters. Okay? So what is it going to take for the sisters? Two minds actively working together. But it only can be the minds of sisters who are interested in following the commandments of the Most High. That's the beauty. The people who are not willing to make the curtain are not going to be able to sit and grab the needle and thread. The ones who are not willing to use their skills to build something for Yah, the ones who are not supposed to be sitting around with other women. If you notice, Most High said, ask of Israel, the children of Israel, who's willing. Because not everybody's going to be willing to do this. That's why I said, if you're willing, stay on. If you're not, that's nothing. Well, this is just a pipe dream. You're just telling me something because you're trying to move us into a certain direction. You're trying to control us. I'm not trying to control you, women. You guys are my sisters. I'm telling you the way the Most High has explained it. Okay? It's explained. In order for us to have interconnection as a family, it's going to begin with you. Just like birth and family, it begins with you. Just like the marriage, the man can't marry a woman who doesn't agree to the terms and the conditions. It starts with you and it ends with you. Now, how do we do this? How do we do this? Right? How are you supposed to do this? You're supposed to do this. Brothers, you're nothing but planks. Sit back and relax and watch the show. For the corners of the tabernacle in the rear, make 2 planks. These are to be double from the bottom all the way to the top, but be joined at this single ring. Do the same with both of them. They are to form the 2 corners. Now remember, the Most High told Moshe, make everything according to the pattern that I told you, that I'm showing you. Okay? Not that I told you what I showed you. So the Most High gave him a vision. He shows him exactly the way it's supposed to be. All you keep hearing through the Torah is you're going to do this. You. He never says them. He's the one who got the vision. He's the one that the Most High showed this to. Akika, are you saying the Most High gave you a vision? I'm telling you, the Most High has instructed me to let you know how this is supposed to happen. I say that with 100% certainty and confidence. I say that I don't have to have a vision of me sitting with the Most High. I can read the Torah and he can tell us exactly the way that the tabernacle is supposed to be built and how the interaction between us as genders is supposed to happen and how it works. And if anybody else can show me anything different, I'm willing to listen. But from what I'm seeing, this is what it is. So when you and I read this, we don't understand this because we don't have nothing to do with it. Wrong. There's a word in there called ta'am that the Most High used to talk about how this is supposed to be brought together. There's more than one way of being interconnected through coupling with one another, through the projections on the boards, or interwoven or intertwined with the interlocking of things, right? And understanding, but it has to be something that is of a deliberate, active process, right? So you're going to have to deliberately do this. Again, showing the strength and stability of what you're doing, right? And the integrity of it. Now, the word that's being used here on how are you supposed to do this, right? This word ta'am is talking about how you and I, if we're going to build anything, we're supposed to do it with a sense of discernment, meaning good judgment, to have, to be able to perceive things and have understanding. Meaning, like when he talks about these boards being brought to the corners of the tabernacle, what he's talking about is the integrity of the structure. Yes, you can have the pegs inside of the board going down to the sockets, and that can hold them up. But there always has to be a corner. There always has to be something that's as doubly strong as everything else in order for the structure to have a stability, in order for it to continue to stand, right? So it can't be singular. It has to be double. So the ta'am there is using our faculties of wisdom and discernment, right? And it's talking about how you and I are supposed to do this. And we do this because when we're building something and we're looking at life and we're understanding from our past experiences, you could take your past experiences into your experience now and say, I learned from mistakes I've made before, and now I'm going to use those experiences to keep me aware about what I'm looking at now. So I'm going to secure the corners, right? I'm going to do that through wisdom and discernment. I'm going to use good judgment. I'm going to actually understand that if I don't do this the right way, there can be, devastating consequences. And the only way this can happen is through maturity. It can happen through understanding. And that's how we're going to build relationships. So we're not really looking for just young women, right, who have no life experience to head up an organization or a coming together and letting the younger women, handle this. It doesn't work like that. What we need is we need women who have experience. We need women who fear Yah, like the curtains, who tremble at the presence of the Most High. So you're going to do this with diligence. You're going to do this with wisdom and understanding, and you're going to use your maturity and your wisdom to help build. Okay. Now there is a master builder. Yah tells us that he's a master builder, and in your Haftarah that I told you, which is in the book of Isaiah, we find the master builder. So here's our connection between what we read about the Mishkan, which is known as the tabernacle of the Most High, and him asking for these materials. He begins to introduce us to who he is. So we know from him expressing what he wanted, the willing offerings of the preciousness of the stones and the materials, and the way and the manner it's supposed to be constructed, and the menorah and the shlukan and the altar. And we understand that our Elohim is a master builder. We understand that he's of craftsmanship. We understand that he's of majesty and splendor. We understand this. And he tells us this through the things in which he has made. But there's something that you and I need to be aware of when we're dealing with construction. We're told that unless Yahweh builds the house, the builders work in vain. If Yahweh doesn't build the house, the builders work in vain. So what is that telling us? Is it saying that Yah has built the houses that you and I are living in? No. Again, letting us know. How do you and I supposed to understand building? What are we supposed to understand about a teruma? It's about a lifting up, right? What it's talking about, everyone, is that if you and I put any effort into anything without Yahweh's blessing, then it means absolutely nothing. You might as well forget it. And if you know that Yahweh is building it, then the house has to be built on willingness. So he's talking about the structure in one's life. He's talking about our families. He's talking about our endeavors, whatever it is that you and I seek to do. If he's talking about building a business, he's talking about building anything. He uses a house because it's the number one structure that has to do with one's safeguard. It has to do with one's security. So in anything that we do, if Yahweh is not in the structure of it, if he's not in the structure of your business, it's going to fail. That's why I praise him that he took all my businesses away from me, because he wasn't in it. Oh, praise be to Yahweh. If Yahweh's not in your marriage, it's going to fail. It's going to fail. If he's not in your endeavors, your organizations, it's going to fail. Everything that you and I are doing is called shwa. Okay? It means emptiness. It means void. It means nothingness. Just like he said, don't lift my name to be shwa. He's telling you, if I'm not part of what you're doing, and if I'm not in it, you're going to fail. And this is not for everyone else. This is for the children of Israel. And it's a mandate letting us know that if you're going to be involved in anything, because my name is on you. So if I'm not part of it, you can forget about your success. Yah will tear you down. So if you and I always like to throw myself in there, if you and I elevate anything over Yah, listen to what I'm telling you, because it's about teruma. You are to lift your soul. You're supposed to lift your hands. If you and I do not lift up our souls to the Most High willingly, then there's not going to be any blessing. Yah is going to destroy it. He's going to destroy it. And that's why nothing really worked out for the children of Israel. Is because they weren't willing. Remember, he said Caleb, he had a willing heart. You have to be like him if you want to come in. You got to be like Caleb. I don't have a slide for it because we haven't got there yet, but we're going to get there. Caleb had a willingness. He had a willingness about him. He was loyal to the Most High. See? So he's letting us know that unless Yahweh builds the house, its builders work in vain. So whatever you and I are trying to build and Yahweh's not part of it, then you're wasting your time. Yah tells us something as the master builder. You and I are builders, but we're not the master. He says, heaven is my throne, says Yahweh. When I read this, and I've read it plenty of times before, I was like, okay, he has a throne in heaven. He didn't say that. He didn't say that his throne is in heaven. He said, heaven is my throne. The Shamayim is my throne. What you see when you look up in the sky is my throne. The vastness of my power is what you see when you travel across the country. That's my throne. There's a scripture in Isaiah that says he sits upon the circle of the earth. That's his throne. So when you and I look up, that's the throne of Yah. You're not just looking at the heavens, you're looking at the throne, where the throne sits. Yah's dominion is over the whole entire earth. And he says that the earth is my footstool. So the question would be, what kind of house could you build for me? Because he's the master builder. What sort of place could you devise for my rest? Where am I supposed to take a repose and sit back and enjoy myself? So he's letting us know that, look, I don't need you. I don't need you to build a house for me. That's where you and I got it messed up. You and I believe that Yah needs us. No, Yah doesn't need us. We need him. But the cold part about it is we need each other. That's the bottom line, is that we need each other. And we're sitting around acting like we don't need each other. You and I need each other really, really badly. We do, as a people. We need to have more of a connection with one another. We need to find a way, while we're in our exile, in the situation that we're in, to leverage and maximize our ability to come together in some type of way. Okay? We're doing it now through the, Zoom, which is great. But there needs to be some other type of connection. Okay? I know we have busy lives, but we need to do something. And I'm going to pray and meditate and ask the Most High for more direction about what we need to do to have more interconnectedness. And it doesn't always need to be on Zoom. It doesn't. It could be in some other way. But we need to find out what that is, because we need each other. We're being too religious. We need to be more relational with each other. We need to find a way to make our connections with each other. I talk to brothers all the time, but I want to talk more to you other brothers. I want to make myself actively part of your lives in any other way besides just being your Torah teacher. That's what I want to do. I want to be available to you in whatever way that I need to be. I'm not going to force myself on you. I'm just going to be available to you. And I'm speaking this to my brothers. This is what I want to do for you. I want to be available to you. And we'll come up with ideas about what that looks like. And you sisters need to get together and find out how you guys can be more available to each other. Okay? That's just the way it is. Okay? He says, didn't I myself make all these things? Talking about the heavens and the earth. Yah doesn't need us. He has great power. Okay? And he said, this is how they all came to be, says Yahweh. That's connected to your Torah. So what is he telling us? He's letting us know that the willingness on your part is the willingness on my part. I'm willing to make a connection with you. I'm willing to take a place of rest with you. I don't have to, but I'm willing. So our willingness is going to have to match the willingness of our master, our king, our husband, is what his willingness is. If he's willing to dwell with us and we're just human beings, and he's willing to not diminish himself, he doesn't have to diminish his value. He doesn't feel diminished. He doesn't feel less than because he's taken a position among people who are different and who are not like him. He doesn't lose any of that, but he does require for us to recognize the glory and the power and the majesty of him, which cannot be diminished. So when you and I approach the Most High, we have to keep this in mind. This is the reason why in this Torah portion, in this Haftarah, he begins to talk about what these people are doing to him, because they forgot. They shakak. He says that the kind of person on whom I look with favor is the one with a poor and humble spirit, who trembles at my word. It's not just the individual who's willing to give me anything. It's the individual that has a very poor and humble spirit, a person who has not exalted themselves in front of me because of their abilities or what they have or how much they do have or what they know or how others perceive them. They understand that when they approach me, they're going to be the ones who are reverencing me and not trying to minimize me in order to fit your narrative. They're mindful of who they're approaching. They're the curtains who trembles. Curtains mean to tremble. They're shaking at my word. They fear me. They know that at a split second, all I got to do is speak a word and everyone is dead. But they're shaking at the fact that this mighty one wants to have a relationship with me. The individuals who are not trembling at Yahweh's words, who have no regard for what he has spoken. He says those others might as well kill a person as an ox, talking about an offering. You might as well break a dog's neck as sacrifice a lamb, as well offer pig's blood as offer a grain offering, as well bless an idol as burn incense, just as these have chosen their ways and enjoy their disgusting practices. He's going to go on. There's a comma right there, which we're going to go into about what he says is going to be for the individuals. So how are we supposed to look at this in light of what he has said about Teruma? He's telling us that if you do not lift up your soul to me in the manner in which I want you to, if you're not fearful of what I said and you're going to go about doing what you want to do, you might as well go ahead and kill a person. You might as well. You might as well just break a dog's neck and think it's an offering like a lamb. You might as well do these things. You might as well go ahead and bless an idol like you're burning incense, like you're having communion with me. Because you really don't understand who you're dealing with. That's what you don't know. You don't understand that when you choose your way of doing things, they're disgusting to the Most High. When you and I decide that we're gonna live the way that we want to live, we choose our way over what the Most High said. He says, that's disgusting to me. Well, there's no Torah in there. There's no Torah on that. You're taking out of context. There's no Torah on how you're supposed to behave. There's no Torah explaining that. There's no Torah on smoking cigarettes. There's no Torah on that. See? So what was going on is we're making it up as long as we go. We're not looking with wisdom. The Most High, like I told you last week and the week before and the week before, the Most High leave certain things up to the discretion of the people in order for them to learn. We're not robots. We're not robots. He's given us ways to live in order to make our lives better, to figure things out. He knew that the children of Israel didn't have answers on certain things, but when they didn't have the answer, they went and sought the Most High, like the daughters of Zelophehad, who wanted to know what would be our place since we're not firstborn sons. What would be our judgment? Most High said, you know what they did? They sought our judgment. What they said is right. Did he not know that that was going to be a situation? He knew that. Yah doesn't give these things because he wants us to come to him. So stop being religious, looking for every detail of your life in the Torah. Because individuals have done this, the Most High says, if these are people who don't tremble, right, by the way, he says, so I will enjoy making fools of them and bring on them the very things they fear. Pause, period, stop right there. if Yahweh has tried to get us to see the beauty of him and his willingness to be with us and his interconnected with us, and he says that I want you to keep my laws and statutes and commandments, and you and I discount that and we minimize it, and then we feel like we're being forced to do so, and then we come up with different ways on why we shouldn't do it. He says, guess what? Go do what you want to do. That's essentially what he's saying. You might as well do this. You might as well do this. He's saying, forget about it. Because the bottom line is this: you're doing what you want to do, and because you're going to do what you want to do, I'm going to make a fool of you. And he's going to bring on the very things that you and I fear, right? So here's one thing. Here, let me just put it in context. I'm real. I hope you know this. The husband that doesn't want to honor his wife by being her master, because you guys think I'm always putting it on the woman. We'll put it on the man. The man who's not willing to follow the ways of the Most High, and he's coming up with new rules that are not applicable to the Torah, right? That individual, the Most High would cause that man to lose his wife. The very thing he fears the Most High will bring it. We see it in the scripture all the time. There were men where the Most High told them, oh, you want to be this way? I'm going to make your wife into a whore. Yeah, you want to do this? I'm going to make your daughters into prostitutes. Yeah. Oh, you want to do this way? Yeah, you're going to die today. See? So what it is the Most High hasn't become real to us because you and I haven't been made fools of. You haven't seen your fear. That because you haven't seen it means that you don't fear him. A lot of us are waiting for Yah to bring disaster upon us before we make a decision to do what he says. And he's letting us know that irregardless to what it is that you're thinking and what your plans are, if you're going to do what you want to do, just understand something. You didn't want to do what I told you. So because you didn't want to do what I told you and instruct you to do, I'm going to bring on you the very thing that you feared, letting us know that there's things that you do fear. So you're not going to be, isolated from this, like you're not going to be touched. Okay. So he says, for when I called, no one answered. Called what? When I'm calling you to this life, and I'm calling you to this way of living, when I'm calling you to my laws, my statutes and commandments, and when I spoke, they did not hear. But they did what was evil in my sight and chose what did not please me. So you and I have to look at our behaviors, and we have to examine them and find out, are you and I doing things that are not pleasing to the Most High? Like not trusting one another, not being honest with one another, dealing deceitfully with one another. Is that pleasing to the Most High? If you think it is, then you might be mistaken. If you're having an affair on your wife and you have a girlfriend on the side, you should know. Is that pleasing to the Most High? See, you and I haven't been in the text enough to understand that he says, when you do these things, he says, will I not judge you for this? Should I not judge? Every decision and every action and every move that you and I do is going to be brought into account. Irregardless to what your pastor and your Sunday school teacher and what your friends and your uncles and your aunties and your mother and your father told you, you're going to be held into account for your actions by the living Elohim who made the heavens and the earth. They have given law, statutes, and commandments for children of Israel to follow and to adhere to. And if you and I do not follow those ways, then you and I are going to be held in contempt against the Most High. He then follows and says, hear the word of Yahweh. Hear the word of Yahweh. Now, by the way, is this in the Torah? Oh, no. This is not in the Torah. Oh, so it doesn't count. It's not written in the Torah. So if it's not written in the Torah, then, this doesn't mean anything. You know what I'm talking about, Mashal. There's people on TikTok that's saying it ain't in the Torah. So they minimize what Yahweh says. Hear the word of Yahweh. You. Not us. You. Singular. Yaqid. Te. You who tremble at his word. Question is who's trembling? Your brothers who hate you, not hating. They're hating you, and they're not rejected. They're rejecting you because of my name. What's his name? Yahweh. What goes along with Yahweh? I'm the one who brought you to the land of Mizraim. Yahweh, I'm the one who brought you from the house of bondage. Yahweh, this is my name. I show mercy and compassion to those who love and keep my commandments. Yahweh, the covenant of Yahweh, the judgments of Yahweh. They hate you because you're telling them about what I said. They're saying, let Yahweh be glorified so we can see your joy, but they will be put to shame. Because why? Because they're not interested. Sisters, now, do you see why I mentioned how important it is for sisters to come together? He didn't say that your sisters are hating me and rejecting me. He said your brothers are. From our experience as men on here would tell you, when we go and we have these conversations with other men, they're vicious. They're hard-hearted. They won't listen. You can't even reason with these people. They won't have a conversation. They're not gentle. They like to argue. That's what men do. They like to argue and debate, like to fight and all this kind of stuff and get in your face and threaten you and all this. But not women. Women are soft and gentle, and they have their little tempers and stuff, but they know they could get things done. So the Most High is not looking for the men in this sense. He's not looking for that. He's looking for the sisters to come, the Ish to the Aish, the Ish to the Akota, okay, to come together, okay? The Mashalava vote, okay? So your brothers, they are hating you and rejecting you because of my name, have said, let Yahweh be glorified so we can see your joy, but they will be put to shame because they don't want to lift up themselves. They don't want a teruma. In closing, the Most High says this, for look, Yahweh will come in fire, and his chariots will be like the whirlwind, to render his anger furiously in his rebuke, and, with blazing fire. For Yahweh will judge all humanity. Yahweh will judge all humanity with fire and with the sword, and those slain by Yahweh will be many. For just as the new heavens and the new earth that I am making will continue in my presence, says Yahweh, so will your descendants and your name continue. Yah is talking to Israel in chapter number 66. He's not talking to anyone else, okay? That's who he's talking to. When he says a new heavens and a new earth, he's not talking about something brand new. What he's talking about is something that's been renewed. So he's going to renew the earth through fire, okay? And he's going to renew the heavens through fire. When he comes, it's coming through fire. The heavens are going to melt. The earth is going to, the mountains are going to melt. Things are going to be burned up, okay? And this is what he's been saying. Noah said it for over 100 years, what the Most High was going to do, bring in water. The Most High is letting us know, I'm bringing fire. I'm going to cleanse the earth. I'm going to renew it. Same word there, new, is used for the word Kodesh. Kodesh. Kodesh means new moon. The Most High is not making a new moon every month. He's renewing it. So he's letting us know in context that he has to do this. And the reason why he has to do this is because people are not willing to serve the Most High. They're not willing to keep the commandments. Not all of them, just some of them. There's only a few of us that's willing to do this. So because you and I have decided to do this, he says, your descendants in your name are going to continue. Okay? Every month on Rosh Chodesh, there's that word Kodesh, which means renewed. Every week on Shabbat, everyone living will come to worship in my presence, says Yahweh. As they leave, they will look on the corpse of the people who rebelled against me. For their worm will never die, their fire will never be quenched, but they will be abhorrent to all humanity. The individual corpses that he's talking about right here are the individuals who rebelled against the Most High. He's not talking about the individuals that didn't have the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. He's talking about the individuals like you and I who have the law, statutes, and commandments, who are in covenant with the Most High, the ones who understand what the Rosh Kodesh is, the ones who understand what the Shabbat is, the ones who have been in a relationship with the Most High. He's saying that the ones who have not done what I told them, who are rebelling, who have been rebelling against me, are the ones who are going to die. And they're going to be burning forever. And I'm going to make sure of it. Okay? And all humanity is going to see it. Okay? They're going to see it. And so, again, we see the idea of worship. So worship is part of teruma. It's one of lifting up your soul to the Most High. Here are the words that I want to share with you for your week. Okay. The first one is Ani, Sakarti, Torah Teka. Torah Teka. Okay. That means I remembered your Torah. Ani Zakarti. Ani Zakarti. 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 Torah Teka. Torah Teka. Ani is I. Remembered is Zakarti. Torah Teka is your Torah. Okay. For those of you who want to know what the ka on the end is, very simple. Ka is your. And here's the Torah. Okay, right there. Torah. Okay, so the Torah Teka. So Ani Zakarti Torah Teka. I remembered your Torah Teka. Okay, your Torah. Next one, Ani Zakarti. I remembered what? Oseh, to do. Torah Teka. Torah Teka. Torah Teka. Torah Teka. So there's 4 syllables there. Torah Teka. Ani is 1 syllable. Zakarti is 3. Oseh is 2. Torah Teka is 4. So once you memorize the word Torah Teka, you would always know that means your Torah. Why is it not Torah Tenu? Because it's not our Torah, it's his. It's his instructions. What are you going to remember? I'm going to remember your Torah. And why do you need to remember the Torah? Because the Torah is light, because the Torah is going to give you explanation on what the Most High's expectations are and how you should live your life and how you should manage it and how the Most High should be inclusive or included in your way of life. Okay, so Ani Zakarti, Torah Teka. Very simple. So memorize it, put into a song. If you say this to yourself, you're programming yourself, because then you would have to be honest with yourself and say, I remember your Torah. I remembered it. If you haven't been reading it, are you being honest? No. So you can't say this, and you have to be willing. This takes willingness, even to remember. Like I've been telling you, I'm learning the modern Hebrew as well. I know biblical Hebrew, but now I'm reading the modern Hebrew, and it's a challenge. And the reason why is because they're using words out of the Tanakh, which is cool, but the way that they're saying it, it's it has a European twist to it. I can't change it to an Afro-Asiatic because the way that they are saying it, I want to be able to have a dialogue with them. So I'm not going to get caught up on that. Whatever the pronunciations are fine. So I don't need to show you Hebrew letters in order to teach you Hebrew. And that's something that I've learned. All I've learned is that if you memorize how to say something, then you don't have to say it anymore. You don't have to know how it's spelled or nothing. Once you know how to say it, you know how to say it. It doesn't matter. When you're talking to people, you're not bringing out a pen and paper and writing it out. Now, if we're dialoguing that way and we're having a conversation, it'd be important to do that. But at this moment, I'm trying to help us develop a relationship with the Most High by you saying stuff to him that you actually mean and that you're willing willing to do. Ani, I, Zakarti. I remembered. Yes, the Torateka. Yes, praise Yah. So Torateka, the ose is to do. Mentioned over probably 50 or 60 times in this Torah portion. He said, ta say, ta say, ta say, ta say. You make, you make, you make. Okay? It's a fashion. So I'm going to do that. I'll remember to do. You know, just remembering it is one thing, but to actually do it is another. So there's two commitments that you're making. Okay? Now, here's the thing. The ose is feminine. Again, in Hebrew, femininity is the actual action that's going on. Remembering doesn't mean anything because zakar means, boy, listen. Zakar in Hebrew, this word right here, zakar, that means remember, and remember means male. It means a memorial. So if you're remembering something and you're remembering a male, what do you remember? Oh, the male that happened in Egypt. Oh, that's right. Oh, I'm remembering that the males need to come to the Cog and meet the Most High in these festivals. Oh, the men are responsible for such. Oh, memorialize this. Oh, the Pesach lamb. Oh, it's a male. Oh, okay. I'm remembering. Okay, I'm remembering. The male's my father's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Oh, I'm remembering. Oh, so when you say I need Zakarti, you're remembering a lot besides I just remember. Okay. What am I remembering? I'm going to do. That's the important thing. This right here has to be to do something. You have to be willing. That's what teruma is to be willing to do, to give, to build, to learn, right? You understand? All these different things. So that's our life. And that's what makes our life meaningful, is when you are doing something. When you're not doing anything, then your life doesn't mean anything. Okay, there's no value in your life. There's your Torah. There's your Torah Teka. Needs Zakarti to Torah Teka. The Shemot 27:20 through 30 through 10. That's your Torah. The Haftarah is Yechezkel, Ezekiel 43:10 through 27. And of course, your meditation is through Tehillim 10 through 48, chapters 10 through 48. So write that down. You know, meditate this week. Think about it. Meditate on Yah's laws. Meditate on what he's talking about. Meditate on it. Day and night, meditate and see how things change. I'm going to swear an oath to you. Here's my oath. I'm going to continue to teach you until the day that I die. That's my job. That's what I'm supposed to do. I swear an oath before the Most High that I'm going to teach you until the day that I die. I will never stop teaching you. I will never stop encouraging you until the day that I die, until the Most High takes breath out of my body. That's the day that I stop. Until then, you're going to hear from me every Shabbat as long as I can. And there are going to be some Shabbats. Matter of fact, I want you to put this on your calendar. And of course, I'll remind you. May 17th, I will not be available. May 17th, I will not be available for the Torah on that day. May 17th. I rarely take that time off, but I have to do something. So May 17th. Okay? And because I don't show up on the 17th, doesn't mean I'm not going to show up on the 24th. Okay? So I want to see your participation. I don't want you, well, he didn't show up, so we can give up. No. You come to class. Come to class because I'm part of your life. This is what I do. You understand? Let's see. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this over to our learning. Before we get started in that, does anyone have any questions, contributions, comments? Would you like to?
Yeah, I've one question
Yes.
and one statement. Since you're recording in I'm not Facebook, YouTube, your teaching will last for generations. So toda. And
Yep.
then how do you say to in Hebrew? I know can you hear me? Like a question mark. I know to hear means to shema, but how do you do like Yahweh, can you hear me? So how do you say that in Hebrew?
Okay, so here it is. So the first word is because you're asking a question, right? So the first question you're going to ask to the Most High is you're going to say Yahweh. First, you're going to say his name. You're going to say Yahweh. The next word is going to be called Ha'im. Let me write it. Ha'im. Let me write it rather. Go back here. Let me write it for you. I answered your question just a second, Sister Eve. So here it is. Let me write it for you, okay? All right. All right. So I'm going to teach you the modern Hebrew, okay? So, I'm writing Hebrew. Almost got it. Okay. So the question is Ha'im. Okay. Ha'im is asking a question. Okay. Like you can ask are, or is, right? These are words that are put their relative pronouns, right? So here, so Ha'im. So first thing you're going to say is you're going to say Yahweh's name, right? So if you ask Yahweh, Ha'im, Sha, Moa, Shemoah. Okay. Yahweh, Ha'im. So here it is. Are you listening? Present tense. Listening. Shamoah. Remember, the word to hear is Shema, but I'm talking in a present tense, so it's Shamoah. Okay. So Shamoah means, are you listening? So Yahweh, Ha'im, Shamoah. Okay. So because you're already identifying who you're talking to. If you didn't say his name and you just want to ask me or someone else, like, if you're talking to a male, you would say Ata, Attah, Ata Shamoah. Ata Shamoah, that's a question. Or Haim, Haim, Haim Ata. Shamoah, Haim Ata. Are you listening? Okay. If it's a female, it would be Haim At. Haim At. Shamoah. Okay. Shamoah. Okay. Haim At Shamoah. Are you listening? Okay. That's for a female, right? So there's different when you address a male, you have to address him as a ta. If it's a female, it's at. If you're talking to Yahweh, just say his name. Yahweh, Haim Shamoah. Are you listening? If you want Yah to listen to you, right? You could be like Dawid. A lot of people are scared to do it, but I would tell you to do it. If you say to Yah, you just say Shema, Yahweh. That right there is you giving him a command. This is an imperative. Don't be afraid. Dawid did it all the time. You should be afraid if you don't know him. But if you really need Yah, like you really want him to hear you say Shema Yahweh, right? So you could say that. Okay. So Shema is an actual command, it's an imperative. So it's how you say it. You can have a word called, Shemoah, which I have here. which is listening. That O sound tells you that right now I'm asking you a question right now. Are you listening currently? Okay. So Hayim, Yawa, Hayim Shamoa. Okay. Anything else before I go into Sister Eve?
That's perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. Koti Eve.
Achika, thank you so much for the message today. I wasn't sure where it was going to go when going through the Torah portion, but you've really emphasized the importance of, women in our community. My first question is following on from the lesson you taught with regards to a woman in a situation where she needs to be redeemed. In that scenario, is she still under the authority of her husband, or is she under the authority of her father? And then secondly, just again listening to you with regards to the role of a woman in the home, my question is, and I guess because I've had obviously Christian background and modern women so-called nonsense, are women really meant to be working, because I know our role is obviously care, nurture the children, feed, cook, and what have you. But is there, because I can't really say it in the scriptures where women are meant to go out and work and bring in money into the family and things like that. Is there something in the scrolls where that's supported? Is that Yah's will, or is that's not the role of a woman?
It depends on the circumstance. Let's answer the first question. So, your first question was dealing. I don't want to mistake what you said. You're asking about the work of the redemption. All right. So when a woman is redeemed, right, the redemption of her either by a family member, because she can be redeemed, is to set her free. Redemption means to be set free, right? So once she's set free, she's free to go back to her father's house. She's under her father's authority. Remember when Judah had let he sent Tamar home, right? He just like, okay, well, my sons have died. You go back to your father's house, right? But
Right.
excuse me, she was still under Judah's authority. She was still under his authority because she belonged to his family, right? So the idea of a woman being redeemed in the context about the slave girl who was sold, a Hebrew woman, when she was sold and she was in a dangerous situation, her father or her brother or anybody who's her relative could redeem her from that situation to set her free so she could go back under the authority either of a new man or the authority of her husband. A woman is not designed in the nation of Israel to be by herself. She either has to have her father over her or she has her husband over her. Like you see when there were vows that were made. If a woman made a vow while she was underneath her father's house, she has to, if her father hears it, he doesn't say anything, the vow stands. If she's under that vow underneath her father's house, and then she gets married to a man, the moment that that man hears about the vow that she made under her father's house, he can turn around and disannul that vow. So you're moving from one authority to another authority. Does that make sense? A woman is never supposed to be out of from any authority. So unless she's a widow, okay, that's the only way. She's a widow or a divorcee, right? When you're a widow or divorcee, you're by yourself. So you can be a widow and you can be a divorcee, and you can remain alone. If you are a widow and you are a divorcee and you make any types of vows, you're going to be held responsible for those vows, anything that you said to before the Most High. Okay, so that question here is about setting her free. She's under authority of her husband or her father. She just doesn't, and she's living, and her husband didn't die, and she's not under the authority of anyone except for her father or her husband. Okay. The second question deals with the work about a woman. This is a big one because in Christianity, they're telling you that you don't supposed to work, right? Saying, hey, you don't have to work. The man is supposed to be a provider, X, Y, and Z. Well, culturally, in the Hebrew culture, that doesn't make sense. Okay. What we find in some parts of the scrolls, which you'll find in Proverbs 31 woman, it talks about how she's a businesswoman. She's doing things. She's going out making investments. She's buying everything. And she's doing this for her family, right? And she's not doing it for herself. Okay. She's not doing it for herself. So let me just give you more context here. So that's a great question, because that's a question a lot of women have. And unfortunately, because we've been taught the because of the culture that we live in, we're thinking that, hey, we don't, women are, it's beneath them to work, it's underneath them. You're a bad woman if you have a job and all this kind of stuff, right? So it's difficult. I get that. But let's just see what it says. And then you take from what I'm about to show you, and you do what you want to do, right? I mean, that just to answer your question. So in Proverbs 31, there was a woman who's talking to her son about what type of woman he needs to be with, right? So
Yes.
here's the words of the king Shemuel, the prophecy in which his mother's disciplining him, right? She said, no, my son, the son of no, my son, right, of my vows. Don't give your strength to a woman or your ways, forgive all the ads, which destroys kings, right? It is not for kings, Shemuel. It's not for kings to drink wine. And she goes on, but let me get to the point so we don't have to read this whole thing. So let's go down to where she tells her what type of woman that he needs to be with. Okay. Question,
Yes.
verse number 10. The question is, who can find a capable wife? Remember, today we were talking about value. Remember, it says her value
Yes.
is beyond that of pearls. She's very valuable. And the woman here in this word capable talks about one who has ability. She's willing to go to war. Okay. Her husband trusts her from his heart. Listen to that. Why? Now, let me ask you a question. Why does her husband trust her?
Because she's a woman of value.
Yeah, but what does it say? And she has proven to what? Be a great asset to who?
The man.
Thank you. So a virtuous woman is a woman who her husband puts his trust in her because she's proven to be an asset to him. So let me ask you a question. If she's working, is she taking everything and storing it up for herself, or is she bringing it to the family?
She's bringing it to the family.
Who's the head of the family?
The man.
So is she hiding it from her husband?
No.
What do you think about a woman hiding resources from her husband?
A very dangerous woman. I would
Thank you.
imagine.
So now she works to bring who good? Verse 12. She's working to do what?
She works to bring him good, not harm, all the days of her life.
Okay, so she's committed to who?
Her husband.
Thank you. So she's working for who?
Her husband. The
Thank you.
family.
So what? And now 13, yes. So because he's the head of it, right? So he trusts her. I can trust you because I know that you're trying to do good by me, right? You're not hiding stuff from me. 13. What does she do?
She
She
procures a
procures
supply of wool and flax and works with willing hands.
what kind of hands?
Willing hands.
Well, that goes to Teruma, right? Because she's noble. She's a noble woman. All right. Verse number 14. What else does she do?
She is like those merchants' vessels, bringing her food from far away.
So she shops, and she's bringing the best of everything. And who's she bringing it to? The family and to her husband. 15. What does it say?
13. She procures a supply of wool and flax and works with willing hands.
No, 15.
Oh, sorry, it's still dark when she rises to give food to her household and orders to the young women serving her.
16.
She considers a field, then buys it, and from her earnings, she plants a vineyard.
Oh, so she's earning everything, and she's building the wealth of who?
The husband
And her family. Yeah.
and her family. Yeah.
So the husband trusts her because he knows what's going on. Or is she just doing this and she's not asking permission? He trusts her because he knows, like, she's not trying to do anything behind my back. She's doing this because she's trying to make sure that I have a good life, right? She's not concerned with just herself. She's concerned with her husband. She's concerned with her family. 17. What does she do?
She gathers her strength around her and throws herself into her work.
So does she work? Yeah.
Yes.
She sees, go ahead, 18.
She sees that her business affairs go well. Her lamp stays late at night.
So she's very diligent about her business. So is her husband at night with her going over the business, or does he have enough trust in her? Like, she got this under control. She got this. Go ahead.
She puts her hands to the staff with the flax. She fingers hold the spinning rod. She reaches out and embraces the poor and opens her arms to the needy. When it
Mhm.
snows, she has no fear for her household, since all of them are doubly clothed.
Go ahead.
She makes her. Do I continue?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. She makes her own quilts. She clothes in fine linen and purple. Her husband is known at the city gates when he sits with the leaders of the land.
Stop
She
right
makes
there. Stop right there. So where's the husband at when she's doing all this work?
sitting at the gates
And why is he
with
at the
the
city gates?
protecting.
Well, he's there to get the city gates. That's where all the elders and the leaders are, because they're the wise men and they're the ones who are giving out the laws and making sure that people are doing what they're supposed to do and keeping families together. So she's working. He's out there doing what you would know as study and Torah and delegating and giving judgment to make sure that the community stays right and stable and there's harmony. Verse 24, read.
She makes linen garments and sells them. She supplies the merchants with sashes. Clothed with strength and dignity, she can laugh at the days to come. When she opens her mouth, she speaks wisely. On her tongue is loving instruction.
Stop.
She
Her tongue is
watches
loving what? What is her tongue love?
loving instruction.
Uh-huh. Okay, go ahead. 27.
She watches how things go in her house, not eating the bread of idleness. Her children arise, they make her happy, her husband too, as he praises her.
Okay. Stop
Many
right there. Stop right there. So why is her husband and her children praising her?
because she's doing all of these things, she's watching over things and looking after everyone pretty much.
So let me ask you a question. If does her husband have a right to ask her what's going on? Or is just this is her own business?
Her husband has the right to ask her what's going on.
Yes, he does. So if he doesn't know what's going on, should he praise her?
No, he probably wouldn't praise her. He
What will he
knows.
do? What is he going to do?
Sorry, what was the question?
If her husband's not praising her, what is he doing? If he can't praise her because she's not being transparent, then what is he doing? What will he do?
Um, I think he'll be displeased with her if she wasn't doing all of these things.
Thank you. He is going to be displeased with her because when he's at the city gates, he's not really a man of leadership because he doesn't have his home. He doesn't know what's going on. So to answer your question, so many women have done wonderful things, but you surpassed them all. That's what he's saying to this woman. Many women have done wonderful things, but you surpassed all. That's his praise. Listen, you see the colon after that, he praises her. This is what he says. Many women have done wonderful things, but you surpassed them all. Charm can lie, beauty can vanish, but a woman who what? Read 30.
Charm can lie, beauty can vanish, but a woman who fears Yahweh would be praised.
Should be praised. Give her a share in what she produces and let her works speak her praises at the city gates, because where are the praises being given at?
At the city gates.
And who's giving the praise at the city gates?
Her husband.
Her husband, and he's telling everybody about his wife. But he can't do that. You sisters need to understand something. You play a vital role in everything. That's the answer to your question. Now, do you want to work? Do you want to have a business? Yeah. Do you want to invest? Yeah. You understand? So yes, you can work. You're capable. And a man who finds you and he sees this, he should be happy to have that. Period. Any man would, because that's all men want to do is brag on their wives. But a man can't brag on his wife when she ain't doing what she's supposed to be doing. When she takes the Christian approach, me, mine is all mine. You got yours and I got mine. I'm good. I don't need you.
Okay.
Any
Yeah,
more
no, that,
questions?
Yeah.